Stitch Mo! Here we go. So it's about 9:30 in the evening, and I am just now about to get started. So my first project for Nano Stitch Mo, sorry for the shaking, I'm going to try not to do that, is Country Cottage Needleworks Afternoon in New York. My fabric is 32 count Belfast in Ariel by Picture This Plus, and coffee cup needle minder from Brenda's Minders and More, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. I have no idea why I picked this one, if I'm honest. But Locket Minder from Juliet Nifty Needle Nannies. And here's where I'm starting out. So I have most of the Empire State Building done. I just have some of the fill-in to do. And I am doing this with all of the called for threads. So yeah, just about to get it going. Got some kind of stuff on the bag there, but anyway. So yeah, about to get started for my first 50 minutes. I'm currently uploading my update video. What is that? Do you guys see that little red spot? Squirrel. It will probably get covered up, I think, with this tree here. Or you just won't be able to tell that it's there. Not sure what that is. Anyway, so like I said, I filmed an update video today, and that is currently uploading. It's my first update video in almost a month, and so in true Jessie fashion, it is over 2 hours long. So it's going to take a little while for it to upload. So I finally got it uploading, and so I'm going to get started on my 50 minutes. Plan of attack. I guess I should finish out the Empire State Building, and then if there's time, maybe start on one of the trees. Maybe I better go in this direction, because while I love brownstones, stitching that brownstone is not going to be so much fun. Only because it's just back and forth, with hand-dyed threads no less. Anyway, so I will check back in about 50 minutes to show you what I did. See you then. Okay, y'all, it is 10:30 on the dot, and I've just finished up my first 50 minutes of Nano Stitch Mo. Woo! Whoa, gigantic hand. Chart. Anyway, so yeah, first 50 minutes done, and there's my progress. I finished the Empire State Building entirely. So the lighter shade is a hand-dyed, and then the darker shade is a DMC, and all I had left to do was some of the darker shade, so that went pretty quick. And then I used my Snag Nabbit here to clean up some of these stitches, because some of the stitches were a little bit loose, and so I just tightened them up, which I always have right there. And so Danny was just in here, and we've kind of decided that we are just going to chill for the rest of the evening. I was originally going to go back out in the living room and we were going to watch Survivor or something, but I'm currently still in the midst of uploading, and so I think that I'm just going to stitch, and I'm going to continue with this. So I might check back in with another update just to show you how far I get before we call it a night. But for now, Empire State. I keep singing that in my head. What song is that? The one with Alicia Keys and Jay-Z. Empire State of Mind, is that what it is? Yeah, that's stuck in my head. So anyway, so I'm going to get to going. I'm going to work on this tree right here, or this one, I haven't decided. They're exactly the same, so I'll just pick one. Okay, guys, I'll check in later. Fine, I'll check in. It's about 1:45 midnight. It's way past my bedtime. But I got in some of the tree. Not quite all of it, because I wanted to make sure I got the trunk done, but that's okay. Progress was made. Night-night, time for bed. Oh, wait, before I go, I figured out why I put this on here. So, 2014, I went to New York City to the Book Expo America, and I went with one of my best friends who lives in Oregon, and we have a shared love of Harry Potter. And so we went to New York, and there was books and coffee, and, well, she doesn't drink coffee, but anyway, the long and short of it is Harry Potter books, BEA, New York City. That's why I picked that one. All right, y'all. I am out of here. See you tomorrow with day 2. Hey, everybody. Good morning. It is November the 2nd, and it's time for Nano Stitch Mo Part 2. I'm probably not going to keep up with the counts of the parts, but you never know. And first thing this morning, I'm going to put in 50 minutes on August by the Cricket Collection. And if you can hear that in the background, yeah, somebody's snoozing away. Anyway, so I'll just show you where I'm starting from. I started this on August 1st, 2016, and I haven't worked on it since. So I have the saddest of little starts on it. And so I'm going to try to put in some effort today. At least 50 minutes worth, if not more. I think that what I'm going to do actually is show you my plan of attack. I'm going to work on the letter because I did get that thread gatherer Silken Colors at some point in the last year. And so I'm going to work on the letter because those go pretty quick. The letters do. And it'll be just a good solid chunk to knock out. I should finish the lobster there, but I think I'm going to work on the silks because love me some silks. This is one of my oldest needle minders. You can see it's kind of tarnished, and yeah, it's doing okay. It's still hanging in there, and I think she still has all of her crystals. Some of my other old needle minders, the crystals have slipped out and fallen off and everything, but I got that from Gina's Unique Boutique. My fabric is 32 count pearl gray linen from Zweigart, and that's pretty much all we need to know. I'm on my Q-snap because I've got Elizabeth loaded up on my Millennium, so that after I'm done with my 50 minutes here, if I don't move on to the next project, and I might do that today, but we'll see when we get there. Anyway, after I get done with my Nano Stitch Mo stitching for the day, then I'm going to switch over to my focus piece. And currently that is Elizabeth, but that is for another time. Anyway, that is it from me. I'm going to go drink some more coffee and hope that it helps. I was up way too late last night trying to get that video uploaded. And so I really need the coffee to hit. So we'll see what happens. I'm losing my train of thought. I'm gonna go stitch now before I make a fool of myself. Okay, guys, see you in a bit. Okay, y'all. A little bit over 50 minutes has elapsed, and if you can believe it, that's still happening. Bulldog problems. Anyway, so I just finished up my session with August, and I do think that I am going to move on because I'm pretty happy with what I accomplished. So let me go ahead and show you. So I got the one leg of the U done. I'm pretty pleased. You know, it's not super exciting stitching, but still, it's pretty cool. And yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with that. So I got down the entire length of that side of the U, and then underneath is the bottom part right there. So yeah, The thread, I meant to talk about that. It is a thread gatherer, Silken Colors in slate blue. Let me see. Okay, I just wanted to pull that out so that I could show you. So it's thread gatherer, Silken Colors, slate blue, SNC number 109, and here it is all bundled up. It looks a hot mess because the thread gatherer skeins are they're wound up pretty tight, and so when you unravel them, they get pretty they're pretty kinked up. You know, it's like spaghetti. It's like a noodle. Anyway, so there it is in this skein, and it's pretty tonal, but stitched up you can definitely see more of the different shades in there. So really pretty. I love thread gatherer. I wish that they didn't discontinue their colors as frequently as they do, because it makes it very difficult to get a hold of. But nonetheless, had a good time, and so I am going to, I think I'm going to switch to Elizabeth. So that is it for this vlog for now. Oh wait, one other thing. Congratulations to Houston on the Astros win. I got to see the bitter end of the World Series last night before we went to bed. My video uploaded at about the exact same time that the winner was declared. So yeah, very cool. Congratulations to Houston and Astros fans. My mom has become a diehard Yankees fan, and so I'm not sure how she feels about the Astros winning, since it was the Astros that sent the Yankees out. Not sure, but anyway, that's pretty cool. Congratulations, and I'll see you guys. Hey everybody, good morning. It is about 7 o'clock on, what's today, Friday, November the 3rd, 2017, and I'm here with part 3 of Nano Stitch Mo. And I am working on this gorgeous thing. This is the August quilt from the Paula Von Quilts for All Seasons book. And so I am going to real quickly pull out the cover of the book so that you can see that. So my copy of this book is falling apart. The cover page has totally fallen off completely. But that's okay. I'm going to take this to Staples here pretty soon and see if they can bind it. Either the same way or differently. Just so that it's easier to use. So yeah, this is Paula Von's Quilts for All Seasons. And this is where I'm starting from. Of my 3 Paula Von quilts, and you're going to see all 3 of them during this vlog because I haven't worked on any of them this year, despite the fact that I really wanted to. Anyway, of all of them, I am the furthest along on this one, and I still have so much left to do. Thor's a little frustrated because I'm talking and not letting him sleep. Let me see if I can pull this out so that you can see this. So this one here. So you can see I've got some of this done in here, but I've got like all of that to do. And of all of them, honestly, I think this one has the most confetti because of that rose trellis. Yeah. Confetti. Which is okay. It's just kind of hard to balance between the book and what I've got. I tried to scan it onto my iPad so that I could zoom in on some parts, but I have to bounce back between that and the book because the book has the thread weight instructions. So like for instance, this window here is stitched with 1 strand full cross so that it has that sort of glassy see-through effect. And some of the colors are called for in 2 strands, and then sometimes they're called for in 1 strand. It's all very, very exciting. So it makes things a little bit complicated, but that's okay. My fabric, by the way, is very boring, but that's okay. It's 32 count Belfast in cream by Zweigart, and Firefly Mason jar needle minder there, because this is for August. And I guess that's really everything for now. So plan of attack, I don't know. I've been studying the pattern because I don't think I've worked on this since February of 2016. So I've been studying the pattern to try to see where I want to go first. And a part of me wants to get into this flower pot here because it's a little chunk of confetti. But then I'm like, well, I only have 50 minutes. So maybe I want to do some of this over here because there's very few colors and it's just stitching. So I don't know. We will see where my needle takes me. Okay, y'all. I will check back in after my 50 minutes to show you what I get done. Okay, so my 50 minutes are up. You know how I talked about working on the blue flower plot or the siding over here? Yeah, I didn't do that. I went totally off plan and I started working on the quilt. So down here at this fold, you see those darker shades there? That's where I started. I was going to try to start over here, but since I don't have this siding done, I decided to start over here where the frame on the window is done, so I could work my way down. And I managed to get one of the colors. There's 3 colors in the background of the quilt. Blanc, Ecru, and then 543. And so I was able to get 543 all the way down to the border of the quilt. And then I worked on a little bit of the Ecru. So just that fold right there. The reason that I point that out is that I'm on cream fabric here, and so it's really hard to see sort of what the heck is going on. So yeah, so I have a window and a shutter and then this long strip of effectively darker cream. It's such a weird place for this project to be in, but that's okay. I have to admit it was hard to stop. I kind of want to just keep going. I'm not. I'm gonna move on. I have some decisions to make on if I'm going to do another Nano Stitch Mill project today or save it for tomorrow. So I've got some thinking to do on that. But I'm pretty pleased with the progress here. I was afraid that I wasn't going to be able to carry this color all the way down as far as it goes. But I was able to. And then, you know, that's pretty big already. And there's still probably a good 30 stitches underneath that. So yeah, long ways to go on this. This quilt is big. I guess I didn't really, it never really dawned on me how big the quilt was, but anyway, so that's my progress. And fortunately, this is a focus piece for 2018, I think. And so it should get some more attention. Hopefully a finish. That would be super, super cool. But it was really, really good to work on this. I just really like the way Paula Vaughn designs. I just like her thought process and the stylizing of everything. It's just, I really like it. So anyway, that's it for me for now. I will check back in with my next project, either today or tomorrow, but it won't make any difference to you all since it will be here in about 2 seconds. Okay, see you guys next time. Hey there, everybody. So it is Sunday, November the 5th, 2017. And for those keeping track at home, my last clip came on the 3rd, and I totally missed the 4th. So I am going to do a quick catch-up here to show you what I worked on yesterday, and then talk about what I'm going to work on today. So yesterday, if you tuned in on Stitch Mania, Stephanie, Miss Oh So Crafty, organizes a DC area Metro Stitchers meetup, and so I, along with quite a few other ladies, we all went and stitched at the library for a couple hours. And in order for me to get up there in time, I've got to leave my house at about noon, 12:30ish. And before that, I was baking cookies because we didn't have enough sweets, so I had to bring some too. That is total sarcasm on purpose. We had an extraordinary number of cookies, and yeah, just lots of sweet stuff to eat. Anyway, back on track here. So I just never had a chance to film and vlog before I got started stitching. So I'm going to insert a picture of where I was the last time I worked on this. And the last time I worked on it was when I started it for Mania 2016. And so, yeah, this has only had a day's progress until yesterday. Now, I say that we stitched yesterday, but I would use that term very loosely. There was a little bit of stitching, but not a ton. So let me show you what I did. First of all, I guess I'll tell you what this is in case you aren't familiar. It is the Berry Collector by Nora Corbett, and it's from her, what collection is this? The Black Forest Pixies collection. I call her Little Miss Mardi Gras because she just kind of looks, she's got those colors. Hence the fleur-de-lis with the Mardi Gras. It looks like a Mardi Gras mask here, and the Mardi Gras colors. So I call her Little Miss Mardi Gras, and so that's that. And then I'm stitching this on a 32 count Belfast in Autumn by Under the Sea Fabrics. So let me show you what I did. And so here's where we are now. So like I said, I didn't do a whole lot yesterday. Combined total of about 2.5 hours, but actual stitching, it's a stretch to say I stitched for 50 minutes. Anyway, so I finished out the greens in this portion and then started to work on the darkest shade there. And there's a little bit of that dark shade there. And then I worked on like her little berry, like collecting purse there. So let me pull the pattern back so you can see what I'm talking about. So there's her bag. And then I was working on this ruffle in her skirt at the back. And so that's all I did. And this fabric is a stunner. It's absolutely gorgeous. Just a nice, soft, peachy leaning neutral, but with some hints of greens and grays in it. It's gorgeous. Love that. Okay, so I'm going to take this down and show you what I'm going to work on today. So my project for today, here on the 5th, is Tidy Modernist Dreamcatcher. And this was also a Mania 2016 start. I've worked on this a couple days, but not a ton. And yeah, this one is also on an Under the Sea Fabrics Fabric of the Month. I think that this one is called Winterbrook. But now I'm second guessing myself. Anyway, I'll look that up in the interim before I come back and show you what I did after my 50 minutes. So here's where I'm starting from. I've got the outer ring of the Dreamcatcher done. And so I've got the outer ring here done, and then I've just got to do the center. And then I've got to do all of the feathers. I've barely started on this pink feather here. So I'm probably actually going to start there and see what I can get done in my 50 minutes. My needle minder is from No Name Needle Minders, and it is perfect. It's really kind of strange because there are some parts of it that are almost an exact replica of the design. So brown, pink, yellow around the edge, brown, pink, yellow around the edge, brown, blue, brown, pink, yellow, blue, almost exactly. Then we have this pink feather here, which almost exactly matches that pink feather there. There are some striking similarities that just kind of weird me out with this. You see that pink feather there? It almost identically matches the one in there. So I thought that that was kind of interesting. But anyway, so I am going to cut this off here, and I am going to start stitching for my 50 minutes, and I will check back in when I'm done. All right, see y'all later. My 50 minutes for day 5 has elapsed, and I'm really pleased with the progress. Yeah, I'm really happy with what I did. So let me go ahead and show you. So here's what I did in the 50 minutes. I finished out this pink feather, then I stitched the yellow feather, and then I was like, you know what? It's time to do some of the strings. So the strings attached to the catcher itself, holding on to all of the feathers. And I made the decision to replace any of these beads that are, they're square, and so they're 2x2 stitched beads on the chart. I decided to replace them with some size 6 beads here. And so you can kind of see they are a little bit multicolored. Let me see. Let me pull up the packet themselves. Okay, so they are these Mill Hill size 6 16609. And so basically wherever one of those square stitched beads is as charted, I just use that space for one of these beads. And this design says to back stitch, but I'm just doing some long stitches so that it looks more natural. I was originally going to leave enough space so that the beads could kind of move along the string, but because gravity, they all just kind of sit at the bottom. So I decided to just attach them, and so they wiggle a little bit because the space is a little bit bigger than the bead, but that's okay, because it's not really necessary for them to sit straight on. So this project is definitely going to be one of those ones that I cannot finish as a framed thing, since these are size 6 beads. But I guess I'll sort of address that when I get to it. What else did I want to say? Oh, it says to backstitch with 1 strand, and I went with 2, just to make sure that it stood out a little bit. I also thought that the single-stranded backstitch, or long stitch as the case may be, might get a little bit lost behind these great big sparkly beads. And so I decided to go with 2 strands just to make them stand out a little more, give a little bit more dimension. So that is where I'm at with my Dreamcatcher by Tiny Modernist. I still have a good little bit of work to do, but not a ton, y'all. I could make a push for a finish. Not today. I've got some work to do on Elizabeth today because I haven't worked on her in a few days. And that's one of my actual focus pieces for the month. So that is it for me for now. I will see you guys tomorrow with my day 6 project. Okay, bye-bye. Good morning, everybody. It is Monday, November the 6th, 2017, and I am here with project number 6 for Nano Stitch Mode 2017. And this is my project for the day. So this is the Flower of the Month series by Ellen Morris Stroh. My fabric is 32 count Belfast in cream by Zweigart. This is a freebie design. It is still available on her website. The best way that I've been able to find it is to just Google Ellen Morris Stroh Flower of the Month, and then it will link you to the EMS 2010 freebie design page, which is what this was. This was a freebie design from 2010, and I haven't been able to navigate her website to be able to find it, but if I Google that specifically, Ellen Morris Stroh Flower of the Month, then it pops up. So yeah, so 2016, I had this spectacular plan that I was going to stitch a flower a month, and then there's February. So this obviously didn't go very well. These flowers are not I don't want to say that they're not simple, but they're not simple. They're a little bit more complex. I want to say 10 to 15 colors a piece. So not the simplest, but that's okay. Still a lot of fun to do, and I love the details in them. One detail that I did want to point out is down here, I stuck in the name of the flower. That's not how it's charted, but I decided to do that, and I'm doing that with the darkest shade from each flower. So for February's, it is the violets, and so I'll be using the darkest shade, which is 823, to put in violets for the name there. So anyway, this is my project for now, and I've got about 50 minutes to see what I can get done. So I will check back in when that happens. All right, bye guys. Just had to pause the clock for a second to show you how tired and how uncaffeinated I am this morning. I just got done telling you about how I was inserting the name of the flower into this border down here. So my first task was to carry this thread that I had parked here, to carry it down. I got down to here and I was like, well, I've got a ton of thread left, so I better get started on that bottom border. And didn't leave my space to insert the name of the flower. So I'll be frogging. Happy Monday, guys. Okay, my 50 minutes is up. And I say 50 minutes with air quotes because, or with quotes, whatever. Not enough coffee yet. Because my timer got all sorts of off. So I paused it so that I could frog. I didn't want to count frogging as stitching time. So I paused it and then forgot to press go again. Then I remembered and I just kind of estimated how much time I had left for my 50 minutes. And then my mom called, and so we chatted for a few minutes, and so I have no idea how long I've stitched. But we'll just say 50 minutes-ish. Anyway, so what did I do? I carried this, I had the thread parked here, like I told you, and so I just carried it up and over. And then, for some silly reason, I decided to go up a little bit. But if I'm going to tie off a thread, I like to have at least 2, if not 3 stitches to run the thread under. And so I was running out of thread here, and so I came over here and did some of this side border here, but then ran out of thread. So that's why there's that random chunk of 2 columns stitches. Anyway, so then I filled in the palest green on this leaf, so this little bud here is all finished. And then I picked up this color 3807. It's like a cornflower blue. And I worked 3 lengths of that. So there's some in here, there's a little bit in here, and then quite a bit down here. And that's pretty much all I had time for. I love this project. I really, really enjoy working on this. And I have a really hard time walking away from it. I'd like to work on this every month, like once a month or something. I have no assumptions that I'm going to finish a flower each month, but like a whole month's worth of flower each month, but I would really like to just work on this more consistently. I haven't worked on it since February of last year, and that to me is a bit of a travesty. I just really enjoy it. It's just pretty, and I like the colors, and I like the depth that there is. Yeah, I really enjoy it, and so I need to work on this more consistently. So I don't know how that's going to happen. I don't know how I'm going to make that work, but I need to. So anyway, so there's that. That is where I'm finishing off with day 6. I have got to get to work. I have a couple of kits to work on today. And so I will be back to check with you guys later. Maybe today, probably not until tomorrow. All right, y'all. See you later. Bye. Hey there, everybody. How's it going? It is Wednesday, November the 8th, 2017, and I am here with my 7th project for Nano Stitch Mo. For those of you doing the math at home, you will know that Project 7 should have come yesterday, technically. Well, see, what had happened was, I got in a good groove on Electra because the beads had arrived. And so I didn't want to devote any stitching time to anything else except trying to finish up Electra. And I just figured I would hold off until today, and then I would maybe try to get 2 projects in today. I still don't think that's going to happen. I think I'm only going to get 1 in today just because of plans for this evening. It's about 4:30 in the afternoon. There were some things I had to take care of today, so just now getting to sit down and stitch after the day. Anyway, so my project for the day is the Game of Thrones house banners by Clouds Factory. And yeah, these are pretty cool. And so this is where I'm starting from. Yeah, lots done so far. I started this during Mania 2016. And that's all I've gotten done in over a year. That's pretty sad, huh? Yeah, I think so. But, you know, that's okay. None of these projects they're not deadline pieces or anything, so. Anyway, my fabric here is let me move this so you can really see it. It is a 28 count cashel linen in Ale by Picture This Plus. I had purchased this for the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery Stitch Along for 2016. But since I had started but never finished that project on something else, I had this laying around in my stash, and it's pretty perfect for Game of Thrones since it's kind of medieval style fantasy. So anyway, so that's where I'm starting. I'm on the far left with the Stark house banner. And my needle minder here is a Game of Thrones sort of inspired medallion. It looks like there's a raven or a crow on there. I really, really like that minder, actually. It's really pretty. And so I'm going to work probably just a big chunk of white because I could knock out a pretty decent section of that in 50 minutes. So that's where I am starting from here this go round. So I'll be back to check after my 50 minutes to let you know how I did. Okay, y'all, so that is it for my 50 minutes. I got interrupted a couple of times and I got distracted maybe once. So I can't say that I put in a solid 50 minutes on this, but it, like, my alarm went off like 5 minutes ago. So I'm counting it. It counts for 50 minutes. And I would go a little bit further, but just straight white stitching for days, like, I just don't feel like it. So I'm not. And instead, I'm going to end it here. And I think that what I'm going to do is pull out my next project, because my next project is a crowd favorite and it's also very colorful. And I'm really excited to get to work on that. So I think I might do that here in a few minutes. It will only be a few seconds for you guys, so stay tuned. Alright, I'll see you in the next one. Everybody, good morning. It is about 7:20 or so, Thursday, November the 9th, the morning of, and I am sitting down to work on my Nano Stitch Mo project number 8. You'll notice that it is the next day, and my last clip I said I might pull out the next one and try to work on it, but instead Danny got home about 2 minutes after that, and so we had dinner and then we played a board game, and the board game we were playing took about 2 hours. It's a pretty long game, but hanging out together, and then it was pretty much bedtime at that point. So yeah, so I didn't get to stitch anymore after the little bit that I accomplished on the Game of Thrones house banners. So here we are with my next project, and this is one of my favorites. Of anything that Dimensions has ever done, this is one of my favorite things. This is, I can't even put it into words, but this means a lot to me, this project does. So, anyway, and I say all of that with all of that reverence, and then you're going to laugh at me for how much I have done. So I'll go ahead and show that to you. Yeah, it's a hodgepodge of nothing going on there. So the kit comes with 14 count Aida. I substituted for 28 count antique white Kesha linen from Zweigart, which is kind of my thing. It's what I do. And that's all I've gotten done. So I think I've worked on this a total of like maybe 3 days. And that's pitiful. I started it in 2015. Also pitiful. So I am really looking forward to this project being featured a lot in 2018. Because I think I mentioned that 2018 I'm going to be focusing on my 2015 whips, and this is one of them. So this one's going to get a good chunk, if not finished, next year. But I'm gonna do what I can today. So I knew that when I pulled this out, I was gonna have to figure out what the heck I was gonna start with, where I was gonna go with this 50 minutes. And so I had to highlight my pattern just to show what I've done so far. I still haven't officially decided what I'm gonna do. I'm either going to fill in this roof, which will only take a couple more colors, or I'm going to come up here and work the tree. Particularly this yellow tree here. I'll show you where that is on the pattern. I'm just working half of the pattern right now, just this side over. So that yellow that I've got done up there, that's that up there. Or I can finish out this roof and then this little side roof. Not sure what my plan of attack is just yet, but I guess we'll find out together. Here in about 50 minutes. And yeah, so I think that is everything for now. Quick view of a Mr. Thor who's falling asleep sitting down. That's a real thing. That happens. Okay, I'm going to turn off here because I am shaking like a leaf. That's ironic. Okay, see you guys in a minute, everybody. So it's been about 50 minutes, give or take. Excuse the snoring. He's sawing logs this morning. So I decided to work up here in the tree because I could pick one color, 2 strands of that color, so I could use the loop method, and I carried that color throughout this tree right here. So I did, I think, a total of 5 lengths, and yeah, that's what I got done. Dimensions kits, they're not hard per se, they're not difficult. It's just that in order to achieve the detail, it's not super straightforward. It's the best way I can put it. But that's okay. I did a good little bit there. That tree is starting to look a little bit fuller. And when I work on this again next, I'm going to finish out that tree and knock out this roof and continue on. So I am going to set up my project for today so I am caught up. And so I'll be back here in just a moment with where I'm starting with that today. So I am working on what should have been my Nano Stitch Mo project yesterday, but I just never got around to it. Yesterday I was in kind of a pretty foul mood, and so stitching was kind of odd yesterday. I'm all good. nothing truly major, just woke up on the wrong side of the bed, I guess. Anyway, so today I am working on Halloween and Quilt, and this is by, his name is Kure Ebatikure. I'm probably saying that wrong, but it's what it sounds like in my head, and so I'm gonna go with it. I started this last year after being thoroughly enabled by Colbin. She was working on this at some point last year, and I think she's now finished it. So I got thoroughly enabled and quick jumped onto Etsy and had to order it. And then I was thinking, you know, that would be a really great thing to work on. I started it in October of last year. I was like, that would be a really great thing to pop on my Q-Snap and work on while we watch football. Because my whole setup doesn't function very well in the living room. But if I'm on a Q-Snap, then I can stitch and watch football and hang out. And so on that first day, I did this. And that's it. That's all I did on that first day, and I haven't worked on it since. So yeah, really great plan there, Jess. But that's okay. So I'm going to work on it today. And so this is my starting point. This magnet or needle minder is from Abby Bella Stitch back when she was doing some minders. And that thing is small, but it is mighty. Like, it's really kind of a tough minder. Like, it doesn't really budge. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, fabric is just a plain cream 32 count Belfast from Zweigart. And let me show you what I'm going to work on. I was thinking about this morning. So I'm going to start up here and work the pumpkin and then try to get into the house a little bit. Because that's some fairly solid stitching, so I can probably knock out a decent chunk in a reasonable amount of time. So that's what I'm going to work on for my 50 minutes for this project, and I will see you guys on the flip side. In my last clip, I said, and you guys just saw this a few seconds ago, I said, see you guys on the flip side. What I didn't realize was that by the flip side, I meant the flip side of the weekend. It is now Monday afternoon. It's probably about 3:30 in the afternoon. Monday, November the 13th, 2017. And I never filmed Nano Stitch Mo this weekend. So I guess I better give you a quick update here. So on Friday, I was working on my Halloween and Quilt by Kure e Batikure. And I worked on this for over 50 minutes, but not a lot over 50 minutes. So this is what I got done. So I started on the top of the house, which kind of looks like Frankenstein's monster's head. Does it not? I think so. Anyway, like all he needs really is just bolts. Anyway, and then I worked on this pumpkin at the top of the house. Let me pull this back up for reference here. So it's this pumpkin right here, and then I did one of these flying things. I want to call it a bat, so I guess it's a bat. Yeah, it's a bat. And then that's really all I got done, because for those who watch my channel, I filmed on Friday, on the 13th, and so I filmed and I uploaded, and then Danny and I went out on a date, and so yeah, so that's what I got done on Friday. So then the rest of the weekend, I didn't do any Nano Stitch Mo at all, and so I am 4 projects behind now. So I've got some catch-up work to do. I'm going to do that over the next couple of days. This is my first time stitching today. I'm about to embark on my first 50-minute project of the day, and I don't know how much more else I'm going to get done today. So not a huge stitching day. But I spent the weekend working on Needleworker by Little House Needleworks, and since this video is not going to go up probably for another 2 weeks, you will know that I finished that already. So yeah, that was pretty exciting. But that's where I focus all of my weekend stitching on. So now let's get into the project currently, and I think that this was the project for Friday. So today, and so fitting, this is Haunted House by Clouds Factory. And why is that fitting? Because it's the 13th, and so it's dark 13 stitching today. Now this really is more cute than dark, but that's okay. I'm going with it. It's Halloween, and that's really all that counts. This cool needle minder is a relatively new addition from Julie at Nifty Needle Nannies. Absolutely love that. Kind of perfect for this design, don't you think? Yeah. And then the fabric is 32 count Belfast in Ombriel by Under the Sea Fabrics. This was one of my first fabrics of the month from her, and I haven't stopped since, and we're about 2 years into that relationship, I guess you could say. Anyway, so here is where I am starting from, and this is loaded up in my Q-snap. I've got a little bit more done that's down here, but this is where I'm working from, and I'm just going to work up in this region with that magenta color and see what I can get done there. And I am obsessed with this fabric, even this really weird undyed spot. For whatever reason, it makes me kind of happy. Normally that would bog me. Like, that would bother me quite a bit. I think I said bog, but I meant bug and bother at the same time. Anyway, normally that would really bother me, but it doesn't in this for some strange reason, which is okay. So anyway, I am going to set to work for my first 50 minutes of the day, and I will check back in afterwards. Okay, well, for the first time ever, at least so far in this Nano Stitchmo event, I am actually ending off early. So let me explain. So, Haunted House, Clouds Factory, super, super cute. Okay, so here is the progress that I got done. And so I worked down here. I only ended off about 3 minutes early, so not terribly. And I know some of you are looking at that, but like, Jess, there's so much more you could have done in 3 minutes. Yeah, okay, so here's kind of what happened. So I worked my way down here. I was trying to focus on page 2 over here, just to try to knock out page 2. And I got down here, which actually kind of bleeds into page 4 a little bit. And then I was like, all right, well, let me do this lime green fence post because that reaches across into page 1 too, as well. But I didn't have any of that lime green cut. I guess I had used the end of my length the last time I worked on this. So then I was like, well, I guess I could do the bats because these 3 bats right here are in page 2, but I didn't really want to spend the time to count out, excuse me, my nose is itching, of course, FlossTube, itchy nose. I didn't really want to spend the time to count out to try to be able to place those bats correctly, and I know it doesn't really matter, but yeah, I didn't want to fiddle with any of that. So then I decided to come down here to page 4 and work on this, and you can tell what I did. That's a little concerning that you can see a definite color difference. Now, part of this has to do with the fact that this project I started in 2015, and so it is not beyond anything to think that either time has just darkened this section or these 2 bits of stitching are from 2 different skeins, and so there is a very subtle but very quiet dye lot difference. Not sure, but guess what? I'm not changing it. I'm not ripping anything out. So there is that. So then I could have kept going, except that was the end of the length that I had cut. So I couldn't come over here and finish this, and I couldn't do the green to finish this fence post here, and I didn't really want to spend the time, nor did I really have the time to count out to do the bats. And I'm trying to work my way down now, even though I started this off so weird and so just not how I do things anymore. I think that I started with this section, so I think that these are stitches I put in 2015, and So I just ended it off here, whereas nowadays, if I had started this in 2017, I might have feathered over a little bit or just worked that whole section straight across. But instead, I cut it off at the page, except here, when I guess at some point I was like, ooh, that's a bad idea. I should probably extend that out a little bit. Anyway, so I'm trying to work my way down, which is kind of how my brain works with stitching anymore. I just like to work down. So, and plus, there is something to be said with bringing the thread up in a space where there are already stitches versus bringing the needle down where there are already stitches. And so when you're working down, at least when you stitch the way that I do, you're more inclined to bring the needle down where there were already stitches, which doesn't mess up the other stitches. I'm not explaining that right. Blitz Stitch does a really phenomenal job of explaining that and subsequently why he stitches the way that he does. So check that out if you're like listening to me going, Jess, what the heck are you talking about? Anyway, I like to work down. That's the moral of the story here. And so I wasn't going to then pull out black and try to work this fence post or that pale purple to bring over this. I wasn't going to do that. So I was like, well, what can I do? There is also a little ghosty that's kind of floating over here, and I might have been able to count out and work on him, but I just didn't feel like it. I didn't feel like counting too much. I know, counted cross stitch. I don't feel like counting, but that's my story. I'm sticking to it. And I'm pretty pleased with what I got done. I mean, that tower is just about finished. It's a little two-faced, but that's okay. It'll be fine. Anyway, so I am going to pack this one up, and I think I'm actually going to bring out the next one. Danny's not due home for another hour or so, so I might be able to knock out another project before he gets here. So that is it for this clip. See you in the next one. Do you guys remember that time when I was still working on my master's degree and I skipped class to start a project? That would be this project. So this project, it almost doesn't feel worth it to pull this out for 50 minutes, but I'm going to do it because I'm committed to the cause. So this is In This Moment, artwork by Jeremiah Kettner, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, nicknamed McKenna for what I would hope are obvious reasons. Much love to you, McKenna. This is huge. This is my insanity. It is, as you can see, 525 by 529. So that works out to what, 250,000 stitches. Not a long project. I should have it done by the weekend, right? No. And so I am stitching it on 25 count Lugana, and I believe that this is cream or ivory. This is a different colored one than what I normally use. I had to order a fat half from 123 Stitch way back when. Hard to believe I haven't worked on this year now that I think about it. But I haven't. I have not. So anyway, so let me show you where I'm starting from. Oh, isn't that cute? So I started page 2 about this time last year, and I was doing it for the November sale of 2016 in Stitch Mania, which was the something old, new, borrowed, and blue. And this, so I chose to make that kind of a Haid Crazy challenge, and so I was working on a different Haid for old, new, borrowed, and blue. And this was the only one that I ever ended up actually working on. And I got 2 and then the start of a 3rd block done. And that was it. I was dealing with an errant stitchy bug during that time. Plus that was during the elections challenge in Stitch Mania, which was one of those daily rotation challenges. I was trying to do too much on top of just some other things going on in my personal life. So anyway, so I'm gonna work on this block. I didn't even pull out the floss because if I'm honest with myself, it's not worth the trouble. So I'm just going to work with these threads here that I have parked, and we'll see what happens. I don't expect a whole lot. So I'll check back in after I'm done. Okay, so it's been probably about 5 minutes. So let me show you what I did. Those 3 strands that were parked in that block, I stitched them in that block and then parked them in the block below. Yeah, that's about it. I made the decision to not pull the threads to try to fill that block or fill the 50 minutes. I stitched on it, and I'm gonna call that good enough for this one. I can't sink my teeth into this project today, and I really want to, and so just putting in a half a block, maybe, like, it's just not worth it to me, and it's certainly not worth it to try to drag out all of this stuff. So I did a little bit. I stitched on it here in 2017. Even if that barely counts, it still counts for something, and so I'm going to call it a day on this project. The thing about in this moment is that this project is going to feature quite a lot next year. I think that I mentioned it before, but I set my goal to have at least 6 pages done. I have 1 done. I'd like to get 5 more, just to knock out a big chunk of this background section here, and I think I might even dip into the swan's wings with that bottom of the diagonal page down here. So this one's going to feature quite a lot next year. My goal, I think, is to have the project finished by 2022, which is a crazy thing to say, but that's the reality. I think the total design is 50-something pages or 40-something pages, so quite a lot left to do, because this thing is massive. So I put in some hot pink stitches and also 2 different shades of purple, although you can't tell. And that's it. So I am going to switch off here, and I'll see you with the next one. Not sure if that's going to be tonight or not till tomorrow. We'll wait and see. Okay, everybody. So it's still Monday the 13th, and I pulled out a 3rd project because Danny wants to watch one of his shows, and then we're gonna board game. So I thought, well, I might as well just pull out another one, knock out another project, and then I'm almost caught up. Anyway, so my project for my 12th project for Nano Stitch Mo is the July quilt, which is the mock-up you see here, and it is by Paula Vaughn. And so this is my 3rd quilt. You'll see the 3rd one a little bit later in Nano Stitch Mo. Anyway, so yeah, love this one, absolutely gorgeous. And this one I just realized I started on 28 count. So this one is on 28 count antique white Kesha linen. The other 2 are on 32 count Belfast. So that was unintentional, but I think it'll still be okay. I think it'll still fit the dimensions of the fabric, and it's not like they all have to be exactly the same size. So anyway, so let me talk to you about the needle minders. Obviously, this is the July quilt, and so it being a very patriotic quilt, I put up my patriotic star, flag star there. And then this one's a little bit of an obscure minder. Not to mention this size project, I don't normally have 2 minders for it. But this one is here for a very specific reason. I started this project on Kate, the Queen of Starts, birthday last year. This was my first of 2 starts that day. And Kate, darling Kate, is an Ohio State fan. And Kate is also the proprietress behind No Name Needle Minders, and this happens to be a University of Michigan No Name Needle minder. So that's why this one is on here, because it makes me think of my rivalry with just about everybody on FlossTube, since there are so many stinking Buckeyes. So many. So this is my staunch standing up to that. Yeah, go blue. So anyway, so I'm gonna get to my 50 minutes here. I think that just for simplicity's sake, and because I don't feel like fighting with the rose trellis and all of those quarter stitches, let's just zoom in real quick so you can see all those quarter stitches. Yeah, no. I think I'm just gonna work on good old boring siding over here and see how much I can get done. Okay, y'all, I'll check in a little bit. Okay, y'all, quick update here. I did a little bit, not a ton, I'll admit, but a little bit. I fell asleep while stitching, so that's quite enough for me. So yeah, I'm gonna go drink the rest of this coffee that my sweet husband brought home for me and try to wake up so that I can last at least until 8 o'clock. So pathetic. All right, y'all. Good morning, everybody. Today is Tuesday, November 14th, 2017, and I'm here with my 13th project for Nano Stitch Bow, I think. Yeah, so my project for today is Nantucket Rose by Lavender and Lace. I absolutely love this design. I started it last year along with purlin stitches. We did a lavender and lace sort of start along, I guess. And I haven't worked on it since last year, obviously, because that's what all of these projects are. But I do love it. And mine is on a 32 count Belfast in flax, which is a fabulous, fabulous neutral linen. Yeah, it's not coming across here, but it feels more substantial than a normal Zweiert linen, but it's soft. Yeah, it's just good. I really like it. And I really like the tone of it too. Anyway, so here is where I'm starting from. I started in the top left, as many people do, in these trees. And the colors on this picture, you can already tell, are just nothing in comparison to reality. It's much more muted over here, and so what I thought was going to be more gray browns is actually some pretty vibrant greens, which I am not mad at. So anyway, I'm going to work in here. I think I might work down to see if I can get to the bottom of this part, maybe. Or I'm going to work across and do this dark section. There are two greens in here, but you can hardly tell the difference between them. In fact, looking at it through the camera, I can't tell any difference, but that's okay. Still love it. And so I'm going to get to my 50 minutes. Okay, I'll check back in about an hour. Okay, y'all, so my 50 minutes and then some are up. I didn't put in more than 50 minutes stitching, but some other things were done in the interim. So anyway, like I said, I was working on Nantucket Rose by Lavender and Lace, and here's my progress. So what you see that's changed is I did the darkest shade up top here. It's not the darkest shade in the trees, but it is the darkest shade here. So it's what's shown as the darkest part up there. And then ran out of that color, finished out that color. So instead of cutting a new length, I decided to come down here and do the palest color right here. And so that's that lightest color picture there. And I still had some more time left, and so there is one blended thread that I sort of worked in a little bit here. And that was pretty much the extent of it. So I already did my counts, and I think it was 195 stitches, which is pretty good for 50 minutes. I will take it. So I think that I'm going to switch to my next project. Oh, there's a cardinal outside. Distracted. Anyway, so my project originally for today is The Needleworker by Little House Needleworks, but I finished that a couple days ago. So that one, I'm just removing it. So we're just going to say that instead of 24 projects, I'm going with 23. And so I will show you what my next one is here once I get it loaded up on my QSnap and get set to go. I'll be back. Everybody. It is Wednesday, November 15th, 2017, and I'm here with my 14th project for Nano Stitchmo. So I'm still a day behind, but I'm hoping to catch up today. Really hoping to. Anyway, so we are back in the Paula Vaughn Quilts for All Seasons book for this project. This is my third of 3 currently on the go, and that's kind of my limit. I don't really want any more than that. I'm sorry if you can hear my clothes dryer going. Had to get into some house things first thing this morning. Anyway, so this is the one that we're talking about. This is the November quilt, and I just love that. It's just picturesque fall to me. I was super disappointed with the October one. Let me see, this one is October. Pictured right next to it. It just doesn't scream fall to me. But this one does. Anyway, so, and this was actually the first one that I started. No, it's not. Just kidding. This was the second one. Okay, so, my fabric for this is 32 count Belfast in cream by Zweigart, and here's where I'm starting from. So you can probably barely make out these stitches in here. I was working in the quilt, on the inside of the quilt. This is the border of the quilt. And so what I think I'm going to do is that I'm just going to pick up this color and carry it down and work on more of this color. I was going to try to get in some of the, sort of the block borders for the quilt. With these browns here, but I don't, I need some more of the body of the quilt in before I can do that, because there's only like little bits of each color and then you switch colors. So I'm going to try to work on some more of the body of the quilt and see where that takes me in 50 minutes. So like I said, working in this region here. Alright, so I'm going to get to stitching and I'll see you guys in a little bit. Okay everybody, so this is as far as I got on my November quilt, and I am super pleased with the progress, although I took a direction that I wasn't expecting. So I told you that I was going to work on the innards of the quilt here. Well, I only had one length left of that color, 543. So I finished it out, and I even got down there a little bit, and then rather than get up and cut a new length, I just decided to work on something else. And so, kind of obvious here, I hope at least, I did the outer border of the quilt. And so I had a couple sections done of the darker shade, and so I made sure to finish out that darker shade and then also fill in with the lighter shade. So the outer border is complete. I still have a little bit of the darkest red to do in here and a little bit of the palest red to do up here. And that's kind of showing the fold over the cart or the wagon. So yeah, really pleased with the progress. I went a little bit beyond my 50 minutes just to make sure I got that outer border done. But that's okay, not a big deal. This was a project that I started in 2015, and so it's going to feature a lot next year, which I am so happy about. Of my 3 quilts, I think that this one is probably the simplest. It's not the most complicated of them. And so a real possibility of getting this done next year. Okay, y'all, so just a few short seconds later, and I am prepped with project number 16. No, 15. This is project 15. That's right. And so we're back with another Heaven and Earth design, and this one is a beloved one. Mini Pirate artist Sabine Rich. This is the mini version. And in this moment, working on that during this Nano Stitch Mo has taught me some things. So here's what I've decided I'm going to do. So I have page 1 finished, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to work on page 4. So 2 and 3 will be over here, and then page 4 is down here. And the reason for that is that I don't have page 2 gridded, and I've got no threads parked there. And 50 minutes is not enough time for me to be like sorting through my my flosses for this project to try to find the right color. It's just not a great situation for this limited amount of time. So I'm just going to work on these parked threads, and we'll just kind of see where we go with that. It's going to be interesting because I'm not gridding this part either. Like I'm not gridding right now. I don't feel like it's worth it at this point. This project isn't going to feature until I want to say March or April of next year. I was out of storage. Anyway, I was basically done saying what I was going to say. I've decided that I'm going to try to keep this simple and see what I can do with my 50 minutes here. Even if it's not much, a little something would be nice. So I'm going to get to work, and I will see you guys after I'm done. Okay, so my 50 minutes isn't quite up, but I am done with this project. Yeah, stitching on Heaven and Earth designs for these 50-minute challenges is really, really difficult for me. It's not really my favorite thing. So I put in a little bit, and I'm going to call it a day. I put in more on this one than I did on In This Moment, and so I'm counting it a success. So here's what I did. And I know some of you are looking at that going, Jess, did you do anything? I did. I stitched the entire, well, not the entire, but the top row, top single row of stitches on page 4. And that's all I'm going to do. I was going to, so this was the only color that was parked in this block up here. And the first block is 2 by 10, so it's 20 stitches. And I was going to just carry that color down as far as it goes. Well, it doesn't go into the block below it. And so I was going to have to flip to the back to tie off, and I just don't feel like dealing with that today. So I just decided to work my way along across the top row, do what I can with those threads that are parked there, and call it a day. And so that's what I did. So there's a few stitches missing here and there for colors that weren't parked, and I wasn't going to sort through my floss and try to find those colors just to fit them in. I took a very, I'm not doing that approach to this. But that's how it goes sometimes. So I put in 64 stitches, I think. Yeah, 64. So I'll take it. Not bad. Not great. Nothing exciting, but I'll take it. While I was working on this, I was thinking back to something. When I was in the home stretch on Mini Pearl, I started her in 2013 and finished her about 2.5 years later in 2015. And I was lamenting the fact that it was taking me 2 years to do a mini, and how I was never going to do all of my Heaven and Earth designs that I've wanted to if it's going to take me 2 years to do a mini. So here we have Mini Pirate. Mini Pirate is just a teensy bit smaller than Mini Pearl. She's just a little bit shorter. And in 2 years, I have 1 page done. So I started her in August of 2015, and that's all I've got to show for 2 years. That's pretty sad, but it's okay. You know, I've sort of changed my thinking on Heaven and Earth designs, and I sort of spread the love a little bit, so it's okay. I'm not too broke up about it. Anyway, that's it for me for today. I am finally, at long last, caught up on Nano Stitchmo, and so tomorrow I will resume having to just work on one project a day, which is super exciting. All right, guys, I'll see you in then. Hello there, everybody. Long time no see. Well, I guess long time for me, but for you guys, it's probably been just a couple of seconds. So today is Wednesday, November the 29th, 2017. And I have 8 projects left for Nano Stitchmo, and I have decided that I'm gonna go for it. This was spurred on partially because I don't like to leave a challenge left undone, and partially because Danny said, oh, you should definitely try it. So here we are. I'm gonna try it. And so I'm gonna try to finish these next 8 projects, or to work on these next 8 projects between now and tomorrow at midnight. So wish me luck, I guess. I guess you'll see here very soon how it goes. And so my first project here is really the reason that I got so far off track. And that is the Prairie Schooler alphabet. And I have here the first booklet, ABC, Anchor, Blackbird, Cow. I almost said crow. Totally influenced by, Anyway, and this is on 40 count Newcastle in Platinum by Zweigart. So it's on 40 count, and so that's, I've said it several times now, but that's the crux of the situation. That's why I got behind, because I'd really rather not do 40 count on my Q-snap, and so I needed my Millennium to be freed up to be able to work on this on my Millennium. And so here we are. And so I have, as you can probably guess by the way that I've been holding the camera here, is that I'm going to work on A is for Anchor. I haven't worked on this in a long time, obviously. All of these I haven't worked on yet in 2017. I had some delusion thinking that if I focused on it, I could get A is for Anchor done real fast. But now looking at it and looking at the pitiful little bit that I had done coming into this today, fat chance of that happening. Fat chance. So I'll let those delusions of grandeur, I'll let them go and continue on my merry way. I have no idea where I'm starting here. I'll probably, yeah, I don't know. I kind of want to work on the sail up here. So maybe that's what I'll do. I'll work my way down and over. But we'll have to wait and see. Stay tuned. So that's it for me. I will see you guys here in a minute. Yo, not long to chat. I went over my 50 minutes, but Danny's ringing the dinner bell. He made dinner for us tonight, and so I gotta get going. But just a real quick update. I was working on A is for Anchor, and I finished up the framework for the sails. So we don't have a boat yet, and we don't have any sails yet, but we have ropes. We have ropes. And I got this long stretch of 3371 done. So pretty pleased with that. Nice, good little chunk of progress. Starting to be able to see what the heck is going on here. But I gotta go. Catch you guys in the next one. Okay, yo. So it's a little bit later, still Wednesday the 29th of November. And I've got my next project for Nano Stitchmo loaded up. Because of the way that I'm doing things, I am using my Millennium frame. It's just so much easier. And so much better suited for my stitching style. So some of you are looking at this going, what on earth is that? And that is Nora Corbett's Queen Anne's Lace, which was in the Just Cross Stitch April 2016 issue. At least it will be that. Right now it just looks like a smattering of stitches, maybe in the right place, but probably not, on some very gorgeous sparkly neutral fabric with a St. Patrick's owl needle minder. So you will have seen a preview of what this is going to look like finished. I don't have a physical version of it. My fabric is a 28 count cashel linen in Wren. It's crystal Wren by Picture This Plus, so it's obviously a little bit opalescent, just a little. And if some of you are looking at this and you're like, what are those gigantic holes, especially there underneath? So this was a Mania 2016 start, and at some point last year I realized that I was way off. And rather than rip out those 1/1 skin stitches, I ripped out everything that I had done in her dress and the bodice of her dress in order to match it up to that. So I'm going to have to run through and check. I have no idea the last time I worked on this, but it's been a long time. And so I'm going to have to check and make sure that everything is now in line, and then see what kind of progress I can make with my little 50 minutes here. This fabric is beautiful. Like, I need some more Wren in my life. If this is what Wren really looks like nowadays, and I know that Picture This Plus is catching a bad rap, but if this is what Wren really looks like, I need so much more of this. It's so beautiful. The modeling is present, but it's not overpowering. The color is natural, but with, I mean, obviously, like the hand-dyed look to it. I'm starstruck. And maybe that's the opalescence blinding me. I don't know. But yeah, it's gorgeous. Anyway, so I am going to get stitching, and I will see you guys here in about 50 minutes or so. Okay, y'all, so I am finishing up, and I'm just about to go crawl into bed. I'm suddenly exhausted. But I made some pretty decent progress. So basically, everything south of that white stitching there, that's what I did. And basically what I was trying to do was to play catch up to where I was before I had to rip it all out. And so this mossy green, this pale green, and then this dark sort of evergreen color, that was a part of what I had done before. And then this really true green color, that is new. So I hadn't stitched that before. And so I am almost caught up to where I was. There was a little bit of pink, I think, that I had worked on off the sides here before I had to rip everything out. But almost caught up. So pleased with the progress, and now it's bedtime. So I will see you guys in the next one. Hello everybody, good morning. It's Jessie, and I am here with, today's going to be an interesting day. So it's the 30th of November, it's Thursday the 30th, and so here we are with the last, I think I have 6 left? Yeah, 6 projects left to get through Nano Stitch Mo, and so we're starting it off very colorful. And I know it doesn't look it, but that's because I printed off the grayscale version. But this is Recipe for a Magical Night by Alessandra Adelaide. I bought this from her express charts at the on her e-shop. I know that this was also in a magazine. I have no idea which magazine it was. And so here is where I am starting from today. My fabric is a 28 count Lugana in Misty Morning by Under the Sea Fabrics. This is a color that is no longer available. This was when Leslie was my hero. She saved me early 2016 because my fabric for the Clouds Factory style hadn't shipped yet, and so she so very generously sold this to me. Just as a last minute, hopefully you can start on time. Anyway, so you're looking at this and you're like, well, that's intense. So most of you know that for this project I am randomly selecting from, I have a bag of threads. Here, let me pull those up. I have a bag of threads, just a mess of things in here. Mosale and Fiberlicious, I think that's all that's in there. And so I'm just randomly picking colors. Well, sort of randomly. So I am going based on the actual colors. So if it calls for a purple, then I'm using a purple. If it calls for a blue, then I'm using a thread with blue, etc. So I've got down here on my lap, I have the color version just sort of stuck here so that I know sort of which color story I need. And again, it's pretty loose. Like mine that's pretty maroon and orange here, I have no idea what that is. It's the red one right there. And my pink and purple one right there is this purple and purple one here. So it's loose, but it's sort of helping me with direction, because if I had to just make that choice, this would never get done. I am too indecisive for that. So I just use this as sort of a guideline for what I want to do. So anyway, so that's where I'm putting my 50 minutes in first thing this morning. Coffee is loaded up and we are go for lunch. So I will check back in when I'm done. Okay, so it's been about 50 minutes. Well, I would say a little more than 50 minutes. I wanted to finish the length that I was working on and or the swirly, and I managed to do both. So it took a whole length of floss to do the swirl. And so the one that I did, pulling it up on my iPad here off screen, the one that I did is this one right here. And so it's this one right here, this pastel-y purple one with the green outline. I didn't get to the green outline, but I managed the insides, and so there it is, this purpley pink and orange one. I actually really like the way that thread worked out. The purple bits are flanked with a very short section of pink, which I really like in the transition between the colors. It's really pretty. And it looks like tiger stripes a little bit. So I'm sure some of you are looking at that going, Jess, that really took you 50 minutes? No, it took me like an hour. And the reason for that is that with these variegated threads, and doing them in this style, I have to pay attention to where the colors land. And so when I'm in one of these corners here, I stitch diagonally. And when I'm in a section like this or like this, I have to stitch vertically. And so I have to be constantly changing how I'm stitching. And so it's not super quick. It's not like an automatic process. But it's okay. It worked out pretty nice. Some of my stitches in there look like crap. I'm not gonna lie, but that's kind of the nature of the beast, because my needle has to come up in certain places in order for the colors to make sense. And so I kind of have a trade-off of either nice looking stitches or nice looking color play. And so I went with color play. Because in the grand scheme of things, maybe the stitches will work themselves out or nobody will notice. That's kind of what I'm going with. So I just realized that I have a Hokies swirl, and then that looks pretty Clemson, and that looks pretty Clemson. The heck is going on here? I'm gonna have to use this color a few more times. Anyway, oh, and that color is Rose Tyler by Mosale, that one that I just used today. So yeah, so that's where I finished up on my recipe for a magical night. I'm going to switch projects and I'll see you with the next one. Hey y'all, next project is loaded up. I was on the phone with my mom, and so it's about an hour after my last clip. And so that is the Red Quaker sampler. I can't believe I haven't worked on this year, but I haven't. And so I'm really looking forward to it. This is a free design by, let's see, Needle Knowledge and Cheryl Fall. If you Google that, either Needle Knowledge or Cheryl Fall, then you should be able to pull this up. Last I checked, it was still free. So yeah, looking forward to making some progress on this. I started this for Mania 16, and I haven't worked on it in quite a while. So I'm going to go ahead and show you where I'm starting from. My fabric is a 28 count lamb's wool Jovelin from Witchelt. I don't traditionally like lamb's or Jovelin, but I like it for this. I like it for the background of this. And so here's where I'm starting from. I'm just in the upper left-hand corner. I have these very suggestive flower-looking petal things. This whole motif is done. This part of this motif is done. And yeah, lots and lots and lots left to do. So what I am going to do, I just discovered that I am totally out of my orange. It's the Red Quaker sampler, and so it's charted in basically an orange red and a darker red. And so the hokey in me was like, well, this is a prime opportunity to go straight up maroon and orange. And so I just discovered that my orange, I am 100% out of. Like I have none, unless it's locked up in a project somewhere. But yeah, I am totally out of that color. So I'm just going to be working with my maroon, which is 814. And I'm going to do the border along the top here, and then the outer box over here. And so that corresponds to that top border there, and then the outer box here. And we'll see where that gets me at 50 minutes. I'm really looking forward to doing this motif. That's just really pretty. And this one down here. And this one down here. Yeah, I really like this. I really like this whole design. And so I will check back in after my 50 minutes is up. Okay, everybody, so I went totally against my plan. Go figure. So I did do this top maroon border here, and then I decided that I'm going to do this page by page. And so that is actually the right border of this page. So I decided to carry the maroon down. And so I started working on this motif here. There's sort of two repeating little motifs to make up the whole section. Then I came down here, and there are hardly any stitches in this motif, and so I just decided to work my way down so that I could work on the outline of the box for this motif here. And I'm about to pull out the cover page so you can see what I'm talking about. But so let me do that. Where did it go? Okay. So, like I said, I did this top border, and then this is that repeating motif for the whole thing. This is the one where there are hardly any actual cross stitches in it. And then it's difficult to make out on the pattern, but at the every other stitch on the inside of this border here is the darker shade, essentially. So that's what I did. And I carried my thread along the back here, and you can totally see it when it's backlit, but that's okay. I'm just gonna let it lie where it is. And now I'm going to go have some breakfast because I am hungry all of a sudden. Not a breakfast person, but I'm starving. So I guess I'll go have breakfast, and yeah, and then I'll switch projects and I'll show you what I'm working on next. Hey y'all, how's it going? It's quite a lot later, at least for me anyway. It's about 6 o'clock in the evening, still November the 30th, we're still going strong. But I took a massive break. I was not feeling too good earlier. But we are here and we're about to get going on project number 20. 20 to go. Or not 20 to go, sorry. 3 to go after this one. Anyway, so this is Northern Expressions Needlework Shades of Wine, and I am doing it with the called for dinky dyes. There's only 3 colors on 40 count alabaster Newcastle linen from Zweigart. It's this beautiful, it's white, but it's definitely got like a gray, and then there's also maybe a pink tone. It never comes across on camera, and sometimes I can't even see it, so I wonder if I'm making it up. Anyway, so that is where I'm starting from, and this is what the project will look like finished. My goal for the year, let's see, about a year ago it was to finish it this year, and I haven't worked on it yet this year. So then I amended my goal to just this first corner, and that's never going to happen. So yeah, that's pretty great. It's pretty wonderful. But it's okay, not a big deal. So what I think my plan of attack here is, I don't know. I'm gonna have to look at the pattern and see what I want to work on. I was thinking maybe the butterfly up in that triangle. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll just do the butterfly. I've only got 50 minutes, so whatever I can get done in a variegated hand-dyed silk in 50 minutes, I will count a win. Okay, that's it for me. I'll check in 50. So it has not been 50 minutes worth of stitching, but I'm calling it out on this one. So I'm going to pan over here and I'll show you what I did. I did exactly 1 length of silk for the butterfly, and then I was just done. So here's the deal. I am contemplating UFOing this and restarting it at a later date, or not restarting it at a later date. And it's difficult to explain, but I really hate the coverage. Maybe that's not that difficult to explain, but I don't like the coverage. I also don't care for the way that I handled this at the top of this corner here. So I just stitched it in straight rows, and everywhere else it, like, the variegation makes sense. It plays nicely, but there it looks, for lack of a better term, kind of stupid. I don't like the coverage. It's okay, but this is supposed to be half of my wedding sampler. And I don't really want to have a it's okay kind of feeling about my wedding sampler. So I might UFO this. I'm going to think on it. I'm not going to make it official just yet, but I'm leaning that direction. So anyway, that's what I did. I did a little bit, calling it on this one for now. And so now I have to get set up for the next one. And so I will be back with y'all. So project number 21. We're getting there. This is my beloved Mirabilia Snow Queen. I do so love this design, and I am so excited. I mentioned it before, but Danny took the chart to work and printed off a working copy for me using some big paper. Because this design, it has no overlap on the main chart, and so it's really hard to flip back and forth on this full page Mirabilia design, and it's split this way, not this way, it's split this way. So starting here in the center, I had to flip back and forth, and it was such a pain in the butt. But Danny took it to work for me, and he printed off a working copy that I can now use, and I'm so excited. I wish that this was going to be a focus mirror next year, but unfortunately it is not. I was going to make room for it, but with Lady of the Flag sort of steamrolling her way in as Lady Liberty would do, this is going to have to wait a little bit. But that's okay, because she's here, and I have what I would consider Leslie's most beautiful thing she has ever made. At least in my opinion. It is perfection in fabric. And I love it. Anyway, so I'll show it to you here in a second. And so what I have done, you guys are going to be like, oh God, Josh, why? You love it so much. Why so little? Well, you know, chart issues and things and stuff. Okay. That's why. So that's where I'm at. And it's just not even coming across at all. You know your fabric is sparkly when your sparkly needle minder looks dull. That's funny. Gorgeous though. Christmas tree. Anyway, so what you see there is this right here. It's that section right there. And then the purple stitches are up in there somewhere. So that's where I'm at. Just barely started. Long way to go, which is okay by me. So this fabric is 32 count Belfast in Darkness Falls. It is one of Leslie's hand-painted ombre fabrics, and so it literally is split. And so, excuse my... this top half is dark, the bottom half is light, and it's a stunner. It's a stunner, and it's just not even coming across just the depth of color. That color at the top there, it's so purpley blue. It's gorgeous, and it's opalescent. Did I say that? Can you tell? It's opalescent. Yeah. So anyway, so I'm gonna get to work here. I gotta pick what I'm gonna do. I'm probably gonna continue working on this, if I'm totally honest, since I only have 50 minutes. I don't really want to fight with the... So that's the thing. The top half is dark and it's opalescent, and so it can play tricks in your eyes. It's already 8 o'clock at night, so I'm not gonna attempt that fate. I'm gonna work down here where it's lighter, where the only thing that I have to deal with is this gigantic slub and the opalescence. And otherwise I can just stitch, because now I've got my chart in a usable format. Life is good. Oh, that actually helps the color come across so much better. So now you can see really the depth of color there. That's fun. Okay, that's it for me. I'll check it out. Okay, y'all. So this is where I got to on Snow Queen. Totally not my plan. My plan was thwarted when I realized that I didn't have 3325. And I didn't feel like getting up to go pull my bobbin to see if I had any more. So instead I changed my plans. Stitches are adaptable, right? So I decided to come up here, and that's helping the fabric actually. I filled in this brown purple 3740, I think. It's like a brownie purple. And then took the 924 up here and then carried down some 3799. I never set my timer, so I'm just guessing at this point. But here's what I can tell you. I might have to revise my plans for next year, because taking this off the frame was not easy. I wanted to keep going on it. I have, before Lady of the Flag came into the picture, I had plans to focus on Raven Queen, to try to finish Raven Queen next year. And then every quarter, I was going to spend at least a couple days on a different Mira other than Raven Queen, and I was just going in chronological order. And I don't think Snow Queen made the list. Maybe it did. Now that I'm thinking about it, it might have. At the very end. That's not impossible. So anyway, this might have to get featured more often than just one quarter of the year, because I really enjoyed working on it. The pattern is still a giant pain in the butt, but manageable. So yeah, I love this. It's beautiful, and I really like my stitches. I really like how they're laying. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so we're about to go into some rapid fire nano stitch mo, and here's the dealio with that. I'm done with this event. Like I'm over it. I left too much to the end, as I do, and I'm done. I'm ready to check out, and that's kind of how I felt when I've done NaNoWriMo in the past. We get to November 30th, I have too much to do to catch up, and then I'm just done. I run into this all the time. Procrastinating is not the answer, y'all. So I have 2 projects left, and I'm going to put in like a length of floss on each of them and call that good and be done with this event. So this vlog is going to encompass 2 projects. So here's the first one. And some of you might know what this is just by looking at whatever's going on in that perforated paper there, coupled with that the Olaf needle minder. Some of you might not. So this was a Mania 16 start, and it is Snowy Owl Snowman by Jim Shore by Mill Hill. And this is super cute. So I'm going to put in a length of floss somewhere, somehow, on this. And so that's where I'm starting from. On the perforated paper. There we go. And then we'll switch over here to project number 23, the final project of Nano Stitch Mo 2017. And that is Summer by the Cricut Collection. This was also a Mania 16 start. It was my final start for Mania 16. I started Mania 16 with the Cricut Collection. I did May, and I ended it with Summer. So that is what led me to start this, and gorgeous peacock minder. And here is where I'm starting from. This fabric is, let me see, 32 count Belfast in pastel lilac. I can't see the lilac of any variety, pastel or otherwise. It just looks like a plain white fabric to me, but that's okay. That's all right. So this is where I am working from, and again, my stitches look really good. Like I'm really impressed. Pat myself on the back. My stitches look good for this. But I'm gonna put in a length of floss. Probably down here, as pictured, with the leafy bits of the carrots, because I really just don't feel like working on white. So carrot green bits it is. Or maybe some of the pinky shades of the M. Maybe that's what I'll do. Yep, that sounds like a plan. So that is my plan of action. We're getting a 2-for-1 deal in this clip, and you'll get a 2-for-1 deal once I'm done with my 2 lengths of floss. And my final thoughts on Nano Stitch Mo 2017. Okay, hey everybody. Nano Stitch Mo 2017. Check. All done. Woohoo! So here's what I did. And this is going to be a really good case of, can you spot the difference? So the color that I worked on is really just a darker beige than what's already on there. And so it frames his face and then frames his arm. And that's what I did. And that took a kind of a long time, because those legs that Mill Hill sends in their kits, they're kind of long. So it took a little while, maybe 20 minutes, maybe. So yeah, so there's that done. And then we'll move over here to Summer. And so I did what I said I was going to do when I worked on the pink. And that went way fast. Way faster than that did. But that's cool. So I'm done. No more nano stitch mo. This is not my style of stitching, y'all. It is not my way. This rotating a project every hour, working on 6 things in one day. Not for me. Not for me. So happy to put this in the past, put November to bed, and wake up tomorrow in December. So real quick recap here. I did an average of about 150 to 200 stitches on each project, except for these last two. These last two will bring that average down a little bit, I think. I worked on technically 24, but officially 23 projects. My 24th project was the needle worker, but I finished that before it came up in the rotation. Of these 6 projects that I worked on today, only 2 of them were on 32 count Belfast linen. In fact, of these last 8 projects, only 2 of them were on 32 count Belfast linen. So that's pretty wild. Perforated paper, 40 count, more even weaves. I'm trying to think. A couple of even weaves, few even weaves. Yeah, just a whole hodgepodge of things. And only 2 Belfast linens. That's pretty wild. Lots of projects that I'm looking forward to getting back to. A couple, really only one that I'm really seriously considering putting in the UFO pile. Maybe a second. Probably not the second though, if I'm totally honest with myself. But that Shades of Wine, I just not digging that fabric. And it's not even that the fabric is bad, it's just that I don't like my coverage on it. So, I don't know. Some more thinking at a later date. Anyway, I have got some updates and things to do, and Nano Stitch Mo. That was fun. Next year, if I participate again like this, I'm just gonna do everything I can not to save it all to the end. Because that was the hard thing. 6 projects in one day is not my bag. It's not my thing. Not doing it. That's it. Okay, y'all. That's it for me in this vlog. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you enjoyed getting to see some of these projects for more than a few seconds, like in my whip parade. And I will see you next week with my next update video. Until then, everybody take care, and as always, be kind.